Oh, there you are, YouTube. Doodle 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 do. Subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. Hey, I think it's time we do a random ranking. I think we just did one yesterday. But anyway, we're going to do another one today. And basically what a random ranking is, if this is your first time here, it is when we go to my movie collection behind me and pick out 3 movies at random. And then we rank those movies from most favorite to least favorite. I say we because I'll rank them here in the video, but if you'd like to rank them in the comments below, please feel free to do so, and then I'll dive into that comment section and we'll talk about movies, we'll talk about films, we'll talk about cinema. And it may take me a while to get to the comments. I've been a little behind lately, you know, holidays and everything. I mean, I guess they're over. New Year's still ahead of us. Okay, but anyway, we are going to go ahead and pick out those 3 movies. So let's go looking for some films. All right, what do you say? Maybe we should do over here. I'm trying to find spaces that I don't choose from very often. I don't like to make the movies I don't know, come from the same spot too often. You know, sometimes I think just muscle memory will, whoa, I think I'm knocking something over. Sometimes I think muscle memory sort of pulls my direction into a certain area. Anyway, let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Okay, this is fun. All right, let's start with this one right here, The Bourne Identity. I remember my sister bought this for me. It was because when I worked at the movie theater, one of the movie theaters here in town, The Bourne Part 2 was coming out. What is that? Supremacy? Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne... I know there are other ones here. Actually, here, free movie ticket. That's why we got it. Free movie ticket to see the Bourne Supremacy. Actually, I didn't need the free movie ticket because I worked at the theater. But anyway, so she was my sister was because she worked at the theater too. She was a manager. She's younger than me, but she was a manager, and then she got me a job as just an usher for a summer while I was in college. But anyway, she was like, "Oh, you gotta see the first one. If you're gonna watch the second one, you gotta see the first one. It's very good. It's very good." She's into these movies, so yeah, she bought this for me, and I watched it in preparation for the sequel. And I remember thinking in the movie at the end, when the music started playing, the Moby song, I was like, wait a second, that's the same end credit song as the first one. And I thought that was a cool thing to carry over. And I think it's, actually, I don't know, I think I only watched the first 3. I can't remember if I watched the Jeremy Renner one or not, but I believe they use that song at the end of all of them. Is that correct? How many of these are there? Are there 4 with Matt Damon and then 1 with Jeremy Renner? Is that right? I think that's where I'm at thinking with that. But yeah, I enjoy this movie enough. It kind of had that. Was it this movie that sort of started that? Yeah, the parkour style action in movies, and then it was sort of copied in the James Bond films. Which came first? Maybe it's a Daniel Craig James Bond and then this, but I think it was this and then the Daniel Craig James Bond, right? I can't remember when the franchises started. But, you know, I liked it enough, but I don't have any strong emotional attachments to the Bourne franchise. It's just kind of when I'm watching, I'm yeah, it's a pretty good movie. But I'm not I gotta watch that. This one I'm very embarrassed to be holding up because, ooh, pesky full screen. Why do I have a full screen copy of this? It must have been an accident. Actually, my guess is I bought this at not a thrift store, but a pawn shop. One of my buddies worked at a pawn shop. And when I was in college, and he would give me movies, when his managers weren't looking, he'd give me movies for a nickel, 8 cents, 25 cents, maybe. I mean, I don't think I ever paid anything over 50 cents a film. And I was walking away with stacks this big and wider, right? Like this, just carrying them around like this. And then I'd kind of have to wait for him to have a free moment, and then I'd see him hey, I'm ready to buy this stuff. And he's like, okay. So, yeah. And actually, that's probably where most of my movie collection came from, because I'm a pretty frugal, cheap guy. I try my best to live frugally. What's another word? Live simply, live frugally, right? So that I can, I don't know, have bigger experiences somewhere else or something. So if I can get something on the cheap, I'm going to pay for it on the cheap. Like Christmas. We like to do Christmas pretty big for the kids, so it's save all year round, and then we give them a big Christmas sort of thing. no toys all year. Sorry, kids, but Christmas is coming up. 365 days. But anyway, I think that's how I got. That was a big tangent right there. But that's how I most likely have the full screen. Is this probably only cost me like 8 cents or something like that. But yeah, I like this movie. I think this is a cool one because Johnny Depp is playing, pretty normal here. And he was Oscar nominated for this. And I thought he looked so cool at the Oscars when he was nominated for this. But, normally we think of these really large, big performances. And this one was much more subtle with him and normal. Like even when he's lower key, he's still heavily in a like caricature character sort of thing, where this just sort of felt like there's some realism here, because like think of like From Hell or Sleepy Hollow. Those aren't like big, like Jack Sparrow or I'm Willy Wonka, sort of things, or Edward Scissorhands. It's like a little gnat flying around. It's winter. What's that guy doing here? Basically, like even his smaller, more quiet roles sometimes are eccentric, but this one was not. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Eccentric. There's an eccentricity, is that a word, to all of his other characters, but not this one, and I thought that was cool. But yeah, I like this movie. Plus Kate Winslet's in it. We love her. Next we have Saw. Look at this. This is just cool right here. We got the disc art right there that looks like a radial saw right there. And chop saw, radial saw, right? And yeah, this movie, I feel like I really liked it when I saw it. I think Cary Elwes kind of like, he was doing some, I feel like I like his acting enough, but in this one I felt like it wasn't as good as we see him in other films, but I still really like this movie. And then wasn't this movie like made on like a tiny little independent budget and then like became this like monster thing, and now it's this monster franchise, right? And I haven't kept up with it. I've watched a lot of them, but I think, I don't know, maybe like when that Spiral movie came out, like maybe the previous two I didn't see, so like whatever number that is, and then moving forward I think I they all started to get a little mixed together for me, where I was having a tough time understanding or remembering what was going on in the first movie to understand this movie, and then you had to think about the third movie in like the fourth hour of this movie, but if you didn't remember the second movie you wouldn't understand this part of the movie. And I was just like, I was like, man, this is hard to do. You have to like watch them all in a day sort of thing. But yeah, Danny Glover's in this, right? Remember that? But yeah, I think this ended up spawning a lot of cool horror down the road. Like some of the people involved in this, if I remember correctly, like the director, and yeah, James Wan. I mean, yeah, these people have gone on to do much bigger things. Okay, so how are we gonna rank them? Let's see. This might be the ranking right here. I like this. So again, like the Saw franchise, as a franchise, I don't like, I don't follow it. I'm not like, oh yeah, here comes another Saw movie. Like I really only remember maybe the first three, maybe just 1 and 2. What's the one where the person has to stick their hands in like a thing of like medical needles? I remember that one. And is that the one where somebody had a thing in their mouth and was gonna like open their mouth or something? Was that the same movie? And then there was one, well, when Shawnee, what's her name? I just lost it. Shawnee Smith? Shawnee, is that her name? From the Blob, the 1980s Blob. When she shows up, she's in Armageddon. She's barely in Armageddon. I thought she was so fine in Armageddon. Like, I had a huge crush on her, and she's only in that movie for a second. She's like showing Steve Buscemi her ring, and then he's like looking at it, and then like telling her that it might not be a real diamond or whatever. It's not a real diamond. And then the cops show up, and he goes, "How old did you say you were?" In that movie. But anyway, she like shows up in this. I can't remember which one. Not this one, but the franchise. Is that 2, 3? I don't know. I remember she showed up eventually. Why can't I think of her last name right now? Maybe I am thinking of it. I can't remember. But I think I'm going to put this at number 1 just because I really like this movie. I don't know. I like the concept, I like the idea, I like the twist. I don't know. Maybe it's basic, maybe it's not cool, maybe it's unbelievable or something, but I I like it. And then I'm going to go Finding Neverland, again because of, I mean, just really cool acting, introduction of this guy right here. He turned out to be a good actor. I like Johnny Depp acting pretty normal here, and I remember, I think I was in tears at the end. I mean, I think I was crying. You know, this one could be number 1 on a different day, but right now I'm more interested in Saw. I'm put Bourne Identity. I'm just not invested in that franchise really at all, even though as I'm watching them, the movies I have seen, I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm going to go Saw, Finding Neverland, and then the Bourne Identity. My question to you, though, is, got this mustache out of my mouth, have you seen these films? And if so, what do you think of them? And if you've seen all 3, I'm curious to know how you would rank them. Also, thank you so much for watching this video. Really means a lot. And perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.